If you have a puppy, especially a little one, I'm willing to bet you've worried about those reddish-brown tear stains that can show up around their eyes. A lot of people just brush it off. They think, oh, it's just a cosmetic thing, or maybe it's the food. But those stains, they're actually a pretty serious warning sign. So let's get into this, because what you're seeing on the outside is a clue to something much, much deeper happening on the inside.
So, if you're a new puppy parent, you've probably asked yourself this exact question. You're wiping their little eyes, you're maybe trying different foods, and you're just hoping it's something they'll grow out of. And that's a totally normal thing to think. But the answer? Well, it's a bit more alarming than you might guess. The reality is, it's not a cosmetic issue at all. No way. Those tear stains are your puppy's body sending out an SOS. It's a sign that their internal defense system is really struggling. And the problem doesn't start with their eyes. It actually starts somewhere you'd probably never expect, their gut.
Okay, so to get to the real culprit here, we have to look right past the eyes and go straight to the source. I want you to think of your puppy's body as this amazing, fortified castle. The tear stains, they aren't the problem. The real problem is a breach in the castle wall.
This breach has a name. It's called leaky gut syndrome. So that intestinal lining is meant to be a super strong castle wall. Its job is to let all the good stuff in, like nutrients, and keep all the bad stuff out, like toxins. But when things like a poor diet or stress start poking tiny holes in that wall, all those enemies can leak right into the bloodstream.
And this is the exact moment where the gut and the eyes get connected. It's something called the gut-eye axis. So here's the journey. First, that castle wall is breached. Step 2, those toxins get into the bloodstream. They start traveling all over the body, and eventually they get to the really sensitive, delicate area around the eyes. So what does the body do? In a last-ditch effort, it tries to flush them out. And that's exactly what those excess tears are, the body's desperate attempt to get rid of internal poisons.
You can imagine this constant invasion of toxins just throws the body's entire defense system into absolute chaos. It's like the internal security team has gone completely haywire. Picture the immune system as being perfectly balanced on a seesaw, because that leaky gut is about to send one side of it crashing to the ground.
So to really understand this chaos, you've got to meet the body's two main defense teams. On one side of the seesaw, you've got the TH1 system. Let's call them the internal cleanup crew. Their job is to fight threats that are already inside the castle, things like viruses or even cancer cells. Then on the other side, you have the TH2 system, the border patrol. They're the ones guarding the walls, fighting off external invaders like toxins and allergens. In a healthy pup, these two teams work in perfect harmony.
But with a leaky gut, you've got toxins just streaming in nonstop. The body panics, it diverts all of its energy to the border patrol, that TH2 system. It goes into total overdrive, basically screaming, "We are under attack at the walls." And this just tilts that immune seesaw dangerously, leaving the internal cleanup crew with no resources, completely unable to do its very important job. So here's the crucial part. This overreacting border patrol starts causing massive collateral damage. It's just releasing all these inflammatory things like histamine. And that is what causes the excessive tearing, which is technically called epiphora. This then leads to that red, sore-looking skin you see around the eyes. And, to make matters even worse, those tears are packed with protein, which creates the perfect meal for bacteria, and that's what causes the smelly gunk and discharge. You see, it all connects.
Now this is about so much more than a puppy with teary eyes. This early imbalance, it's like it's planting a dangerous seed for the future. The real threat here is what this is doing to your dog's health years and years down the line.
And that brings us to a really critical concept in veterinary medicine. It's called the two-hit theory of chronic disease. And this, right here, is how a seemingly simple puppy problem can turn into an absolute tragedy in adulthood.
Okay, here's how it works. The first hit happens when they're a puppy. That leaky gut and that totally unbalanced immune system, it damages the very foundation of their health. Then, years later, the second hit comes along. And we're not talking about something huge. It could be something as small as a little bit of stress or just the natural process of getting older. But because that foundation is already broken, this tiny trigger can cause a massive explosion of chronic disease. We're talking tumors, autoimmune disorders, you name it.
Just think about it for a second. With the entire immune system focused on guarding that broken wall, the internal cleanup crew, the one responsible for fighting cancer, has been completely neglected. It's been abandoned. The whole kingdom is left wide open, totally vulnerable to the most dangerous enemies growing from within. And that is why those puppy tear stains are so much more than just skin deep.
So what on earth do we do about this?
Well, wiping the eyes with some special solution is kind of like painting over a crack in a dam. It doesn't fix the real problem, right? The real solution is to stop focusing on the symptom, the eyes, and start fixing the root cause, that broken wall.
The path to real healing has 3 pretty clear steps. First, you have to repair the wall. That means sealing up the gut lining to completely stop that flow of toxins. Second, you hydrate the cells. You have to create the right internal environment so the body can flush out waste the way it's supposed to. And third, and this is key, you rebalance the seesaw. Once that wall is secure, the Border Patrol can finally calm down, which allows the internal cleanup crew to get back in business and start protecting the body from the inside out.
I really want to leave you with this powerful summary from the veterinary source material we've been looking at. It just says it all. A young puppy's tear stains are not a simple cosmetic issue. To prevent cancer or chronic illness in adulthood, you must inspect the broken wall now and restore the balance of the immune seesaw. The time to act isn't later, it's now, while they're still young.
This whole thing really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, we started with something as simple as tear stains, and we ended up at the very foundation of long-term health. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. What other silent signals might your puppy be sending you right now? It's a really good reminder to always look deeper.